Open on the pill bottle. Do not move off it. There is a pill bottle on a kitchen counter in the Catalina foothills neighborhood of Tucson, Arizona. Nancy Guthrie's heart medication. Her evening dose was due at 10 p.m. Her son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, dropped her off at 9:50. Sheriff Chris Nanos confirmed on camera she could not survive 24 hours without it. The people who took her left it there. A kidnapper takes the pills. Every time, without exception, because without the pills, the hostage dies. And a dead hostage is not leverage. That bottle is not just evidence. It is the collapse of everything this investigation has been built on. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what it means. This is the vanished case. What you are about to hear is the story the ransom theory could not survive. Subscribe and turn on notifications before we go any further. January 31st, 2026. The timeline that started everything. Saturday, January 31st, 2026. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, had dinner at her daughter Annie's home in Tucson, 4 miles from her own house in the Catalina foothills. Afterward, Annie's husband, Tommaso Cioni, drove her home. He dropped her off at 9:50 p.m. The garage door closed. That was the last confirmed moment anyone saw Nancy Guthrie. At 1:47 a.m., her Google Nest doorbell camera disconnected. At 2:12 a.m., motion sensors detected a presence at her front door. At 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker stopped syncing with her phone. That was the last signal she sent to the world. Around noon the next day, Nancy missed a virtual church service. Her family drove over. The back doors were propped open with her own flower pots. Blood droplets sat near the front entrance. Forensic testing confirmed the blood was Nancy's. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos declared abduction. The FBI joined under Special Agent in Charge Hythe Janke. The dominant theory took shape immediately. A targeted kidnapping for ransom, motivated by the fame of Nancy's daughter. NBC Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie. That theory was wrong from the first hour. What the ransom notes knew and what that means. The first ransom note arrived February 2nd at KOLD-TV in Tucson. The next day, TMZ received another. Both demanded millions in Bitcoin to a verified on-chain wallet. Harvey Levin described the TMZ note as structured, sophisticated, written by someone with above-average literacy. But buried inside those notes were details about Nancy's Catalina foothills home that had never been made public. The exact location of her Apple Watch inside the house. Damage to a specific floodlight on the property. Either the writer was inside that house, or someone who was there told them exactly what to write. On February 11th, a separate note arrived at TMZ. Not from the kidnappers, but from a claimed third party offering to sell the name of the perpetrator. This person said they had already tried to reach Annie Guthrie and Cameron Guthrie directly. Not Savannah. Not the FBI, Annie and Cameron. And on February 5th, a California man named Derek Colella was arrested for sending fake ransom texts. His messages went directly to Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cioni's personal contact information, not Savannah's, theirs. Every note in this case pointed toward Tucson. Every single one. The detail that ends the ransom theory permanently. Back to the pill bottle. Because this is where the ransom theory does not just crack, it collapses completely. If your entire operation depends on keeping a hostage alive long enough to collect payment, you take the medication. You do not need to understand cardiology. You grab every bottle on that counter because that person's heartbeat is your only leverage. They also left her phone on the nightstand, her purse, the cash inside the purse. They took nothing except Nancy. 3 explanations exist. They did not know about the medication, which contradicts 3 weeks of documented precision surveillance. They knew and did not care, which means keeping her alive was never the objective. Or the plan collapsed inside the bedroom before they ever reached the kitchen. Nancy took her hearing aids out every night before bed. Without them, she was functionally deaf. Verbal commands in a dark bedroom. An 84-year-old woman who cannot hear and does not respond. Escalation, a push, a fall, blood on a front porch that was supposed to be clean. All 3 explanations end in the same place. This was never about ransom. Immaculate inside. Everything wrong at the exits. Share this video with someone following this case. A law enforcement source confirmed to News Nation that there were no signs of assault anywhere inside Nancy's Catalina Foothills home. Immaculate. No overturned furniture. No broken glass. No displaced objects. Someone moved through that house without a single wrong turn in the dark. 3 of Nancy's own flower pots were used to prop open 3 separate access points. Back kitchen door, back patio, door, the side gate near the garage. Grabbed in darkness without hesitation by someone whose hands already knew exactly where to find them. That is not improvisation. That is memory. The plan was the back exit. A neighbor's dog started barking toward Nancy's property in the night. The back exit became a liability. Plan B, the front door, through the security gate, past the disabled camera. And on the way through, Nancy's blood hit the concrete. That security gate cannot be breached from the outside. A neighbor with the same model confirmed it to Brian Entine at News Nation. The man on the porch in the FBI footage was not forcing it. He was standing still. He was waiting for someone on the inside to open it. The note that was never meant to collect money. Savannah Guthrie told Hoda Kotb on the Today Show that one of the ransom notes sounded like an apology. The sender said they did not realize Nancy was so fragile. They did not know her heart was that weak. Sit with that for a moment. In 60 years of documented ransom cases, there is no precedent for a kidnapper sending an apology. Not once. Because the kind of person who executes an operation like this does not possess the emotional architecture to feel remorse and then mail it to the family. Look at the contradiction. The first notes, cold, structured, escalating dollar amounts, hard deadlines, the language of someone completely in control. Then the apology note, soft, regretful, almost tender. Those are not the same person, not even the same emotional world. The apology was not written to collect money. It was written to give the family a reason to stop looking, to let Savannah believe her mother died in a botched stranger abduction, rather than at the hands of someone Nancy trusted. Someone wrote that note to make sure the family chose the tragedy over the truth. Every thread leads to the same 4-mile radius. Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cioni live 4 miles from Nancy's Catalina Foothills home. They are the last people confirmed to have seen her alive. Everything after 9:50 p.m. on January 31st exists only in Tommaso's account. Then 14 hours of silence. Nobody called. Nobody drove 4 miles. Nobody checked. 14 hours is enough time to execute, transport, clean, and be home before noon. The gas station with the Bitcoin ATM is blocks from Annie and Tommaso's home in Tucson, not near Nancy's house, near theirs. It sits on the route between their address and Nancy's Catalina Foothills home. The FBI visited that station. The ransom notes demanded Bitcoin. On February 7th, deputies conducted a consented search of Annie and Tommaso's home. They left carrying blue gloves and brown evidence bags. Former CIA and FBI agent Tracy Walder confirmed to People magazine those were evidence bags. Annie's blue Honda CR-V was held by the Sheriff's Department for over 40 days, taken apart at an auto mechanic in Tucson, being put back together. 40 days is not routine. 40 days means they were looking for something specific and needed time to find it. Retired FBI agent Steve Moore said plainly, "The $1 million reward is unclaimed because the only people who know what happened cannot come forward without implicating themselves. That silence has a shape, and the shape is 4 miles wide. Everything. One more time. Fast." Tommaso dropped Nancy off at 9:50 p.m. on January 31st. Everything after is his account alone. 14 hours before anyone checked. The camera went dark at 1:47 a.m. The pacemaker at 2:28 a.m. The house immaculate. No struggle. Someone moved through it like they owned it. 3 flower pots, 3 propped doors. Plan was the back. Blood on the front porch says something forced a change. The backpack, full, light, no hard edges. You bring restraints to hold a hostage. You bring a tarp to remove a body. The ransom notes contained non-public crime scene details. The apology note contradicts 60 years of kidnapper behavioral profiles. Derek Kalela's fake texts went to Tommaso's personal number. The third-party note targeted Annie and Cameron, not Savannah. The FBI visited the Bitcoin ATM gas station near Annie and Tommaso's home. Deputies searched their house and left with evidence. Annie's car held for 40 days. The FBI canvassed their neighborhood the same night activity appeared in the ransom Bitcoin account. And the medication sat on the kitchen counter. Untouched. A real kidnapper takes the pills. These ones did not. That is not an oversight. That is the answer. The blockchain does not lie. The FBI told Crime Stories with Nancy Grace that the Bitcoin trail is their best lead. Ari Redboard of TRM Labs said it simply. Every Bitcoin transaction is public, traceable, and permanent. The wallet address in the ransom notes is real, on-chain, and it has seen activity. Harvey Levin confirmed that live on CNN. Crypto is the ultimate crime scene. The ledger does not forget. And it has been sitting in public view since February 3rd, 2026. The next video follows that wallet. Every transaction, every movement, and what it tells us about who set it up and whether they ever expected to be found. Before you go, one comment, just one. Based on everything you just heard, did an outside stranger take Nancy Guthrie for money? Or does this evidence point somewhere the family does not want the public to look? Drop your answer below. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Share this with one person following this case. Nancy Guthrie deserved better than a theory that collapsed the moment you looked at a pill bottle. Every case matters. Every clue counts.